Hey guys, welcome back to BellaVet. How are you doing? I just thought I would vlog a little bit of my very last vet school rotation. I'm on my surgery rotation, and on my surgery rotation we go through 3 different sections. And the sections are soft tissue surgery, and then I go on to neuro, and then hard tissue surgery. And yeah, I just thought I would do a daily or weekly vlog and kind of talk to you guys about it. It's also kind of a crazy time at school right now because today is March 14th, and yeah, the coronavirus thing is kind of ramping up right now, and every day we have like an email from our school about just an update on it, new things we're doing about it. Like our last one was about everyone was calling our clients to ask if they had been to a place that had an outbreak within the last 2 weeks, if they were having any flu-like symptoms, just a bunch of like screening questions. We actually had one patient who came in that was a fomite. Its owners had been to a place that had an outbreak, and it had an emergency and needed to come in, and of course we treat emergencies. So we were very careful, and the dog came in, and at the moment I believe the word is that dogs cannot catch it, but still it can survive on surfaces, including dog surfaces. So we were being really cautious. But yeah, so that's kind of where we're at right now. I'll keep you guys updated as to what they tell us. There have been some vet schools that canceled class. Our vet school canceled class for the first, second, and third year. Well, the third years are in clinics right now. So the first and second years. In your third year, you start in the classroom, and then you switch to clinics. So yeah, the first and second years don't have class right now. They're doing everything online. And I believe at this moment, Minnesota and Wisconsin have both closed not only their classes, but also their clinics. I could be wrong. I don't go there, but yeah, I've heard of some students who are clinical students, and they said a lot has changed. So yeah, I'm kind of curious if we'll eventually do that. I'm curious. There have been some rumors that maybe eventually we would go to emergency only. So our emergency staff would be there, and then our anesthesia and surgery and whoever else would get called in as needed. So I'll let you guys know if that happens. But yeah, it's kind of crazy because I think this goes for not only veterinary medicine. I think this goes for a lot of medical fields, in that like it's very rare that people tell you to not show up, and there's, I think, a lot of, and it's weird, I feel like there's this pressure to show up even if you're not feeling well. Like obviously not with coronavirus, but you know, if you just have the flu or if you're sick or something, like you feel really bad for missing out, because if you don't come, then somebody has to take on your caseload, and then they're short-staffed, and it's just this whole thing. But it's also really crazy because, at least in the human side of things, like if you're sick, like you should not come in, because you could not only get your coworker sick, but your patient sick. And obviously in the veterinary world, there are very few diseases that we could pass on to our patients, but you know, more commonly we'll get our coworker sick. So I am a huge proponent of, if you're even a little bit ill, stay home and don't come in, because I don't want to get sick. And whenever I feel pressured to come in when I'm not feeling well, I always feel really terrible if I could possibly get somebody else sick. So yeah, it's just a crazy time. And how it works at my school is you have I believe if you're on a 2-week rotation, you get 1 sick day. If you're on a 6-week rotation, you get 2 sick days, which I think is a little ridiculous. But and if you have more than that, then there's this 2-week period between our last day of clinics and graduation that you can come in for like makeup days. But yeah, I don't love that policy, I'll be honest. I think my school can do better. I think they could just be more flexible. I know that you have to kind of work against people maybe trying to game the system, but I think on the flip side of that, you risk getting other people sick, which isn't that cool. And some professors right now are taking it a lot more seriously than others. You have some professors that are like, you're coming in, you know, you have to. And then there are other professors, like, luckily, like my professor who is on surgery right now. He is hilarious and awesome and incredible. And the first day of our rotation, he, you know, gathered us all up and said, stop shaking hands and wash your hands. If you feel the need to wear gloves. Stop touching your face. And if you feel sick, no matter what kind of sickness it is, no matter if you know it's corona or not, don't come in. And we're even starting to, even at the beginning of this week, we are starting to kind of decrease our appointment load. So if it can wait, then it will. Just so that if people do go out sick, then we can still handle without them. But yeah, it's crazy and it's ever changing, and I'll keep you guys updated how it goes. But back to the surgery part of my surgery rotation. Right now I have one patient and she is very cute, and she is a wound care patient. So what had happened was she came in on emergency because she was attacked by another dog, and another reason why you should always keep your dogs on leash if the law says that is an area that you should keep your dogs on leash. And if you like to take your dogs off leash, go to an area that is designated for that, because it's all really just to keep everybody safe and out of the emergency room. So, but yeah, she was attacked by a dog and it was pretty severe. So she needed to go to surgery. She got a flank flap to cover the wound. And then the flank flap was in, I mean, it's the flank area. There can be a lot of tension in that area, you know, with leg moving and all of that. And so the tip of the flap actually necrosed, and which means that the very tip of the flap died. It didn't make it. And so that kind of reopened the wound. And so then we were doing this thing called a tie-over bandage. And a tie-over bandage is when you take, like, let's say this is the wound, and around the wound you put in sutures, and you kind of make these big loops, and then you'll pack it with, you usually do like honey and gauze, or alginate, which can last a little bit longer in a bandage than honey, and then gauze, and cover it with like a piece of drape or a sterile towel or something. And then you take umbilical tape, which is basically just like, imagine like flat string, and then you weave it between all of the little loops that you've made of suture going into the skin, and then that holds it in place. And then you tie the umbilical tape in a bow or not, and then you cover the whole thing with an IO band, which I believe is like, it's kind of like a sticky film that has iodine within it. And that covers the wound. And then if you're using honey, we change the bandage every day. And then if we're using alginate, we change it every 2 days. Unless it's the weekend, then we let it go for 3 days over the weekend and change it on Monday. So yeah, I'll see her on Monday. It's looking really good. It had a really nice bed of granulation tissue, which is what we want. So there's no dead space, which is awesome. And we were originally thinking about surgically closing it, but it was just looking so good. We think we might let it heal without surgery. So to be determined on how it's going. I've also seen a lot of really cool surgeries. We saw a thoracotomy lung lobectomy. It was a dog who inhaled a foreign body, so we took out the tip of its lung, which was pretty crazy surgery. All the surgeries that I had seen up until that point were in the abdomen and not in the thorax, which is just crazy place. And then we also got to see a splenectomy, the removal of a big splenic mass, and we learned that 2/3 of all splenic masses are malignant, and 2/3 of those typically are hemangiosarc, and hemangiosarcoma is a type of tumor that is a tumor of the blood vessel, so it can pop up anywhere. We actually have another patient who had hemangiosarcoma of the scapula, which is your shoulder bone. Just crazy, because you usually see it on the heart or in the spleen. So I had not heard of it happening in a bone, but like we said, it's blood vessels, so like it can pop up anywhere, even the brain. So yeah. So I don't believe we have results back of what the tumor is, but what else did we see? We got to see a wound vac being put on. Another procedure we saw was a perineal urethrostomy, and it is a procedure typically done on male cats where male cats have a tendency to get blocked, which is when they have like a bladder stone or very, very small bladder stone that gets stuck in their urethra, and then it becomes an emergency because they can't pee. And if that happens again and again and again, then kind of a permanent surgical procedure that somebody might consider is a perineal urethrostomy, where they take the urethra and they remove it from the penis, and they remove the penis, and then they make another hole in another spot for the urethra to exit that is a bit more open. It's got kind of this draining area, and that will hopefully prevent them from getting blocked. And yeah, so that was a really interesting procedure. Yeah, so I will keep you guys posted on new procedures and new things that happen. But yeah, so today I had the day off, and it's a Saturday, and then tomorrow I'm on call from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and so if any emergencies come in, I will be the one taking them as a student, and I'll be the one scrubbing in with the doctors. And then hopefully tomorrow, if I don't get called in, then I'm gonna try to go to a little garden shop with some friends and see how that goes. So I'll bring you guys along for all that.
Okay. Are we on here? Yes. Hi,
Yeah.
Rachel.
Hi.
So I'm sure we were all talking about it here, but I'm sure you guys know, like in all seriousness, no joking aside, that things are getting pretty serious with the COVID-19 situation, particularly across the country. And it has been decided that, so the whole hospital is essentially going to be going to emergency only for at least this week.
Okay.
We don't know how long this is going to be in effect for.
Hey guys, so as you can tell, I just woke up. There's 2 of us on our rotation right now that don't have inpatients. I have an outpatient, and we kind of all agreed as a group that I went in yesterday to help out and be an extra set of hands, and so the other rotation mate who didn't have one went in this morning, which was really nice, because that meant I got to sleep in, which was awesome. So thank you guys. And yeah, so as you can tell, our head faculty member just brought us all in for a meeting. I was there via speakerphone, and yeah, she's told us that our hospital is going to emergency only. So the details of that are still being worked out. And there's a couple of other vet schools around the country that have done this, and she said if things get worse and we need to be even stricter, then what would happen is all of the students just would not go to clinics, and the cases would be managed on an emergency basis by clinicians and vet techs. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. Yeah, so the details of everything are still getting worked out. We're trying to figure out if, like, we have an on-call schedule right now, so we're trying to figure out, like I have a patient, so do I come in for her bandage change, Or does the person who's on call, who's going to get called in if there's an emergency surgery, do they also take care of our inpatients and outpatients so that we have like fewer people in the hospital? And so that's a big question. And another big question, of course, patient care is most important, but another big question that we have is we're like 5 weeks away from graduation, or I guess 7 technically. We're 5 weeks away from being done with clinics. And so what does that mean for us? We have certain requirements, not only from our school, but from the AVMA, which is our governing body of veterinary medicine. So we have these things called competencies that need to get done. So like competencies on our oncology rotation, for example, where you have to do a jugular blood draw, you have to do a rectal exam, you have to palpate lymph nodes, I think you have to aspirate lymph nodes. And so basically the competencies on every rotation are just things that you need to physically do or talk about that are really relevant to that type of medicine. And those are set forth by the AVMA, and they get reported back to the AVMA, and they are part of the reason we can graduate. So if we're not in clinics and we're not doing those things, like what's going to happen there? And people, like me, like I and a lot of my class, we've signed contracts, and those contracts have start dates, and so we need to graduate. So yeah, it's pretty crazy right now. Sorry, this has been a bit of a vlog of just me talking about the situation. And yeah, so I'll keep you guys updated. I'll try to bring you into school. I'll try to see if I am allowed to do that. I don't know. So yeah, pretty crazy. Yeah, but today I think my friends and I are still gonna try to go to a garden store, so I'll bring you there. I am the person on call today from 8 a.m. till 8 p.m. So I can get called in at any time, and especially if there's an emergency. And yeah. So it's Monday, and I'm not one of the 2 students scheduled to go in today, so that means I get the day off. But yeah, so I thought I'd use it to do some stuff that I have been meaning to do for a while, and one of those things is to go get my picture taken for our class composite. And these pictures will stay on the wall of my school for years and years, and so I'm really excited we get to put on our robes and get our picture taken, so I'll bring you guys along. Guys, so I just got done for the day, and yeah, it was a pretty crazy day. It started off with a lymph node, a popliteal lymphadenectomy. That's what it was, popliteal lymphadenectomy. Basically, this dog had malignant melanoma on one of his paw pads. So that was resected, and then we decided to take out the next lymph node to hopefully inhibit metastasis or slow it down or give this dog a bit longer. So that's what we did today. And we're also treating this dog with a melanoma vaccine, which I can talk more about a little bit later. It's really exciting. Yeah, and then we were going to remove a wound vac from another dog, but there was a cardio patient with a PDA, a patent ductus arteriosus, which is a birth defect in the heart. And usually with PDAs, they put an implant, which is kind of basically like a mesh plug in this vessel. The vessel is supposed to shrink down when an animal is born, from the fetal circulation to the adult circulation, but this time it did not do that. And yeah, so that didn't happen. And so hence you have a PDA. And when it was just very skinny and narrow and long and oddly shaped, so they didn't think that it would fit correctly in that space. And so they asked us if we could help, and we said yes. And yeah, so then the other option is to go through the chest wall surgically and ligate the vessel that isn't supposed to be there. And yeah, it was just a very abnormally shaped PDA. And so we tried ligating it, and it ended up, there was some bleeding that we didn't want, and so we decided to stop for today, close it up, and we put in some material in there to help the bleeding stop, help things heal a bit better. And the plan is to hopefully go back in a couple weeks after the vessel has had time to heal, and then try again. So it is a risk of the procedure that happening. It was just unfortunate that it had to happen today. And it was unfortunate that the PDA was such a strange shape. They're usually smaller and just not as weirdly shaped. So yeah, so that's what I had today, and I'll keep you guys posted. The next time I go in is Friday due to the coronavirus, and yeah, so that's kind of what vet school is like right now. It's a little crazy, changes every day. What we're doing to help combat the coronavirus. Yeah, so I'll keep you guys posted. I am on this rotation until this coming Tuesday, and then I switch on to neurology for 3 weeks. And then after that, I switch on to hard tissue for another 2 weeks, and then I'm done. And I'm sure a lot is going to change in that amount of time, and I'll keep vlogging. I'll keep you guys updated. Yeah, so I'll see you guys a little bit later. Bye. So I also thought I'd show you guys Tim and Terry. They are our mules. So at my school, our vet school has our own mascots. So they are actually draft mules, and yeah, we have a mule team at school, and they drive them, and they offer like horse-drawn tours. So it's just a really cool thing that my school has, and I can show you them. They are right next to the parking lot that we all park in as second, third, and fourth year vet students. So I'll show you guys. Today's a weird day. We just got the word that our hospital will be going into phase 3 on Monday, and phase 3 means that there's no students in the hospital, that the hospital will be run by faculty and staff. And yeah, it's just kind of weird, because today could have been my last day in clinics, and I just didn't imagine my last day of clinics going like this. And you know, all of the past years, it had been 2 weeks before graduation you end clinics, and then you have this, you know, everyone celebrates, and you have this like grace period where you get to like go on vacation before graduation, and who knows if we'll have a graduation ceremony. It's really not looking like it right now, but we have not heard one way or the other. And yeah, it is like 6 weeks away, so hopefully this whole coronavirus thing will not blow over by then, because I don't think that's going to happen, but hopefully things will change. Hopefully we'll understand it better by then. And yeah, just hopefully somehow we get to have a graduation, but I think I'm slowly letting go of hope for that, because it just doesn't seem like it, and it's going to be really, really sad, and it just sucks. And at the same time, the like scientist side of me that's taken epidemiology, like I know it's for the greater good, and if it saves somebody's grandma, that, you know, we don't put 500 people together in one room, like that's worth it. But I think it's okay to admit that it's for the best, and also admit that it royally sucks, and just to mourn it too. So yeah, not a very happy chat, but it is what it is. Today we had some cool cases. We got to take care of a dog that had its nose taken off because it had a nose tumor. And we also got to take care of some wounds. And there's a really cute dog that had its thyroid removed because of a thyroid mass, and she was adorable. Yeah, and so that's what we did today. And then I'm not on call this weekend, and I'll just be hanging at home. And yeah, and then Monday starts, and we're no longer coming into the hospital, so we'll see what happens. I'm sure they'll give us some other assignments, and hopefully hopefully the clinic will open back up in a couple weeks and we'll be able to go back, but I don't know. I'll keep you guys updated.